In the spirit of respect, authenticity, and reconciliation, the town of Slave Lake honors and acknowledges that we are situated on the traditional lands of Sawridge First Nation within Treaty 8 territory, home to Indigenous, Métis, and Inuit peoples who have occupied these lands since time immemorial. Councillor Gramlich?
I would like to add a closed session to the agenda, ATIA under section 19, please.
Okay, so motion to add a closed section to the agenda. Any further discussion? Call to question those in favor. And that is carried. Councillor Achoba.
I'd like to move to adopt the agenda as amended.
Motion on the floor. Any further discussion? Call to question those in favor. And that one is also carried. Councillor Achoba.
I'd like to move to accept the minutes from previous meeting of council, April 3rd, 2026.
As presented. Any further discussion? Call to question those in favor. And that is carried. Councillor Gramlich.
Make a motion to accept the meeting minutes from April 7th as presented.
Any further discussion? Call to question those in favor. And that is carried. Councillor Hughes.
I move to accept the minutes from April 21st, 2026 as presented.
Motion on the floor. Any further discussion? Call to question those in favor. And that is carried. Councillor Hudson.
Move to accept the minutes of April 28th, 2026.
As presented. Any further discussion? Call to question those in favor. And that is carried. And Councillor Bowes.
I'd like to move to accept the minutes from the meeting from May 12th, 2026.
Any further discussion? Call to question those in favor. And that one is carried. Okay, now that we've probably the longest list of meeting approvals that we've had, we're going to go into our new business and reports and operating budget, year-to-date and actuals. Roland, floor is yours.
Perfect. Good evening, Your Worship and members of council. I have the operating budget results as of April 30th, 2026. I'm not going to go over a whole lot. It's not a whole lot of exciting news in the first budget update. There's really no concern from administration. Right now, for revenue summary, the total revenues are currently at $14.12 million, representing about 55% of the approved annual budget at $25.62 million. And that's just because at the date of this report, we had finalized the tax notices, and so the tax revenue was included in here. And you'll see that with 100% of the municipal tax revenue invoiced for the year. Just as a note, that's invoiced, that's not collected. We do expect most of the collection to happen in June. Other than that, most of the revenues here are trending within expectations. There's no real concerns on that front as of this moment. On the expense side, total operating expenses are currently $6.85 million, representing about 33% of the approved operating budget. Their expenses are in line with expectations for this time period. Really, the only department of note here for expenses that we are just kind of currently watching is the operations services, and just because we had the elevated snow and winter activities, their budgets are a little higher this year, including fuel. Other than that, all of the departments at this time are within the expectations of where we should be at this year. And so with that, administration really doesn't have any concern or anything to report to council other than we're on time, we're on budget, and we don't have any concerns at this point.
Thank you. I'll open up to council. Any questions here? Councillor Achoba.
So I see no questions. I'm going to move that council accepts the 2026 operating budget update for the period January 1st to April 30th, 2026 as information.
Motion on the floor. Any further discussion? Call to question those in favor. And that one is carried. Okay, moving along. Construction season overview. Kush.
Good evening, Your Worship, members of council. The purpose of this report is to have service level review with council related to the construction season. As a part of annual review and discussion process, town administration would like to provide council with information regarding construction projects that are scheduled for this summer. This report is intended to outline the typical steps undertaken prior to the commencement of site work, identify anticipated construction and work zones, explain the road closure process, and provide an overview of construction coordination activities. Typical construction projects kick off after May long weekend and run until end of October, weather permitting, depending on the type and complexity of the work involved. Before starting any site work, most projects undergo detailed review process based on the complexity of the project scope. While review requirements may vary from project to project, they typically include the following. So we hold kickoff meeting with contractors to review project scope, construction limits, working hours, and communication expectations. Discussions also include support measures for affected residents during construction, such as coordinating garbage collection, providing temporary property access ramps, arranging temporary water service connections if required, establishing safe pedestrian routes through or around the work zone, etc. And at this point, emphasis is also made to the contractors to hire local contractors or source local materials wherever possible. We also hold health and safety orientation with the contractor to make sure their crew members are working in safe environment, and safe environment is also maintained for the public around the work zone as well. We review traffic accommodation strategy plan and environmental construction operations plans. So these plans are reviewed to confirm how traffic will be safely managed through active work zones and to ensure appropriate environmental protection measures are in place during construction. We also conduct review of road closure plans. So these plans are typically requested by contractors and needs to be submitted a minimum of 48 hours prior to requesting a road closure. And once the permit is approved, notifications are shared with emergency services and the school division with information on detour routes. We also undertake review of shop drawings to make sure all the materials that are being used at the project meets the project specifications. We also review truck route and disposal sites. So this review ensures heavy equipment and trucks utilized for material delivery and hauling are using appropriate truck routes as per our bylaw. Disposal sites are also reviewed to confirm materials are being disposed of at approved locations. We continue communication through our town website, social media, or voice alerts. Usually timely notifications are released to residents regarding construction work zones, temporary speed zone changes, traffic route or pedestrian route changes, road closure, etc. We also communicate to the directly affected lot owners. So ongoing communication is maintained with affected property owners throughout the construction, through door-to-door notification, pamphlets distributed by contractors, and formal notifications letters issued by town administration. For street rehabilitation projects, letters are typically sent in advance to outline the scope of work and anticipated construction timelines. We also schedule progress meetings and timely inspections to ensure project proceeds as per the contract drawings and specifications. And these meetings are also helpful in order to give contractor opportunities to address any construction-related issues in timely manner. Following are the expected work zones for period of time during the upcoming construction season. So we have a water main replacement on 11th Ave Southeast between 9th Street and 12th Street, so which would be an active work zone this summer. We just kicked off downtown core between 2nd Ave Northwest and 1A Ave Northeast today for revitalization along the East Boulevard. We are working on scheduling the first phase of 5th Street Northwest Road rehab, which is for sanitary spot repairs and water line extension. The 2026 phase will solely focus on underground work, and 2027 phase will focus on surface works. We are also doing some intersection safety improvements on Main Street and 6th Ave Northwest. So intersection around the Husky will have some improvements scheduled this year. We have a mill and overlay program for a section of Caribou Trail, mainly east of Main Street, and other sections will be added once they are finalized. So we are currently in the process of finalizing the sections. We did finalize all the patching sites this afternoon. So patching work will start first, and then the contractor will transition to mill and overlay. And we'll have to also request for proposal because it's the cost for mill and overlay project is over the threshold, so we'll do the RFP process. There are also various sections spread throughout all the quadrants for annual sidewalk rehabilitation work and patching work. There's also tree removal and replanting work scheduled in various parks and street boulevards this year. Apart from street work, there are also improvements scheduled for Government Center, at the MRC, at the water treatment plant, and at the pool for replacing the diving board. Work on all the projects will be done in accordance with our infrastructure standards and specific codes as applicable. Projects and improvements scheduled for this year are intended to advance the strategic goal of infrastructure and asset management, support improved core service delivery, and enhance the overall quality of life for community members. We recommend council to accept this report as presented.
Thank you. Any questions? Councillor Hughes?
Thank you so much for the report, Kush. I feel like you are working very quickly already, and I got to say that I was really happy to see some construction. It just seemed like today it just kind of hit, and there was stuff happening all over town. So really happy to see that. I did want to comment that I really appreciated the communication that went out on Voyant today, kind of showing a timeline for residents, even a photo of the site. I just thought that was really well done, and I hope you plan to continue in that
Yes.
sort of thing with all the other projects that we have up and coming.
Yes, we will.
Thank you very much.
Okay. I have, Councillor Williams, go ahead.
Yes, again, thank you so much for that. Do we have access to see how many residents are on Voyant that we can see? Because I just want to know if those messages are getting out. It's such a great thing to use,
Right.
Voyant.
That will
Do
be
we know?
more.
3,000, awesome, okay, great. Okay, so I don't have any other questions. That being said, I move that council accepts the presented report as information.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor, and I do have questions, so I will halt
Oh,
it before I
okay.
call to questions in favor. So I do have a quick question. So we have all of the projects scheduled, and it's going out on Voyant project by project. Is there, and forgive me if it exists, a master schedule that has like timelines and expected completion dates for those that don't dig into the capital budget? Because it's like, here's everything we're doing this year, because what we can see that comes up a lot of times on social media is, what is
Right.
this? What are you doing? Which road is being done? Is there a overall master one, or?
Not at the moment. I mean, like, we are still trying to get some, like, for example, water line tender is still out. We don't know what the timelines would be, right? Mill and overlay, we are finalizing the sections, so we don't know yet. We haven't finalized the contractor yet, right? So once those items are finalized,
Yep.
then we can definitely share updates as things are made available to us.
Yeah.
But yeah, our goal is to make sure that we continue to communicate in timely manner so that there is no surprises for the residents.
I think the communication on Voyant is very effective. I was just curious if we had,
I mean,
or if we wanted to look into
We
like a
can do
master thing.
anticipated timelines, but
Yeah.
they may not be like accurate.
I think it was just an overview, and that's just me asking if there was
Yes.
an overview, so that it's like, here are all the things without going and
Right.
diving into the capital budget. A couple other questions. Is there a formal resident complaint process if there are issues? I'm hoping there's not, but if there are issues, does it go through bylaw, call the town office, the standard process?
They usually, like, based on previous street rehabilitation work, they usually call town office, like, front staff, and they usually direct the call to me, and then
Okay.
I usually deal with it and try to resolve it in a timely manner.
Perfect. I just wanted to make sure that we have the same, that's the process that we'll be following this year. And then there was mentioned that there's trees that are scheduled for removal and replacement. Do we know how many trees-ish?
I think when we did our grant application, we were looking at 52 trees altogether. And some of the trees will be, like, for example, Hill Diamond Park, we are looking at planting 24 trees altogether. However, there are 6 or 7 trees that are like overly matured that will be coming down as well. So all combined, I think we're looking at 52 trees spread across different parts of the town.
Thank you. Councillor Hughes?
Yeah, I was actually just going to comment in support of your idea, Mayor Ward. I really like the idea of kind of doing a general overview for the public. I think right now, tax notices have been sent out, and I think it would be nice to show, hey, this is the list of projects that we have greenlit for, the coming season. I understand not everything is, necessarily concrete, but it'd be nice to see just a little bit of detail out there for the public. And so on that note, I would like to make a formal motion to that effect.
We'll,
Oh, do you have a?
there's a
question?
motion on the floor from.
Oh, yeah, sorry, pardon
We'll
me.
do that one
Once we're
first.
done.
Okay, perfect.
Thank
Put
you.
a pause on that. So, Cindy's original motion is to accept the report as information. Councillor Williams, is there any further discussion on that? As I see none, I will call to question those in favor. And now we will go back to Councillor Hughes.
Thank you. I move to direct administration to please advertise a overview of all the scope of projects that we will be completing in the town of Slave Lake when you feel you're ready for it, I suppose. But within the next month or so, I feel like would be ideal. And to just have that go out on our social media, Voyant, et cetera, so we can share that with residents. Friendly amendment, so you want a date? Is there a specific date you feel is reasonable, Kush?
I mean, like within a week, we can, because it's just anticipated timelines, right? So
Yep.
we can do it much faster. We don't have to wait for information
Perfect.
back from the contractor, so we can just do it like.
I was
Within a
thinking
week.
something simple, like a
Yeah.
one-page, just
Yeah,
an
it doesn't
easy.
have to be really fancy.
We don't have to put the diving board in, but here's
No.
the road work, here's the things that you're gonna run into when you're
Right.
driving down Main Street and you're going to see anticipated timelines, use the word anticipated.
Yeah.
And then if it changes, but I think that would be helpful. Okay, and
Yeah.
put that in there.
Perfect.
All right, motion on the floor. Is there any further discussion on that? I'll call to question those in favor. And that one is carried.
Thanks.
Okay,
you.
That's it, thank you. Perfect. Next up, Joe. Switching gears, community services, recreation and facility rates bylaw.
Good evening, Mayor, Ward, and Council. I'm here tonight to present bylaw number 08-2026, Community Services, Recreation, and Facilities Rates Bylaw for Council's consideration and approval. The purpose of this bylaw is to establish and update the fees and rates associated with recreation programs, facility rentals, and services provided through the Community Services Department on behalf of the municipality. These rates support the continued operation, maintenance, and enhancement of town facilities and recreation opportunities for residents and user groups. As part of the administration's regular review process, the bylaw is updated every 2 years to ensure rates remain current and reflective of operational costs, market conditions, inflationary impacts, and comparable municipal recreation fees within the region. The review also helps ensure that rates remain fair, competitive, and sustainable while continuing to provide accessible recreation opportunities to the community. The proposed revisions within bylaw number 08-2026 include adjusted rates for various recreation and facility services. Administration has carefully reviewed the impacts of the proposed changes and has worked to balance financial sustainability with affordability for residents, families, organizations, and user groups. These updates will assist the town in continuing to provide quality recreation services, maintain facilities to expected standards, and support long-term operational planning. Administration is recommending that Council approve bylaw number 08-2026 as presented. Thank you, Mayor and Council. I'd be pleased to answer any questions.
I will just note a couple clerical errors of, sorry, page 40 of the agenda package. So the document bylaw number, it says 08-2062. There's an extra 2.
There is a corrected bylaw that
Is there
is
corrected? Okay.
labeled -2026 that was caught well before the council meeting.
Perfect, I've
For
got the
signature,
PDF
it
on
passed.
here. And then the other one I was gonna ask is if, it says that we're gonna rescind bylaw 06-2022, and then in the next sentence it says to rescind bylaw 11-2024.
I caught this afternoon. I figured the
Perfect.
fact that we are rescinding it in the whereas section would cover us on
So
both
we've got
counts.
both cleared, okay, perfect, that was just a couple of things on that there. Any other questions from council on this? Councillor Bowes?
Quick question, Joe.
Yes.
So these rates, I will assume, are in line with other, like Athabasca.
Traditionally, our catchment comparison municipalities are Westlock,
Okay.
High Prairie. We look at Whitecourt, Edson. We look at a range throughout the region, Athabasca.
Okay, and we're within,
Yes, yeah.
Pardon me.
And there are some challenges. We have different spaces or don't have different spaces and ability to offer programs, but as best we can for those pieces, we try and ensure that they're comparable and also to work towards our trying to move the needle slightly with our cost recovery for our department. Most recreation programs run anywhere from only a 30 to 60% cost recovery program percentage rate. So we seek to raise that, but not at the expense necessarily of making access to our centers unaffordable. Our walking track rates for mayor and council traditionally stay the same each year. That's something that we don't raise. It's a toonie drop-in rate, so raising it to $250 or making it, it's just nice for our seniors and our adults to walk in and pay that rate. Our swim rates for lessons for families, those usually only go up $1 per year. It's the rates relating to passes, and then that there's usually a slight increase of anywhere from $1.50 to $2.50 depending on the rate when we last changed it. And then the other major change is our rental space above Arena 1. We were charging $25 for 4 hours at a time. So our rack rate for use of the space out in the foyer is $25 per hour. So the rate has been changed to $75 for up to 4 hours for a local community agency. And then there's a rate for up to 8. Because that space, we provide tables, chairs, there's fridge, sink, own washrooms.
Well, and
it's a space.
privater than
I couldn't understand, and maybe it was an oversight why that rate in the previous incarnation of the rates hadn't been moved a little bit to reflect sort of what that possibly should be. That being said, I think it's still affordable for a nonprofit or community to come in and have a space like that for 4 hours for $75 or less, depending on their application.
Okay, thanks, Jordan.
So.
Councillor Choba?
Thank you for this. Quick question: do we have an estimate of how these changes may, impact facility usage or participation levels after September 1st?
I speak to that in general terms because that was a question when I started in 2024, because it was a few months after that the manager at the time made the presentation for the rates and fees to be approved for 2024 and 2025. As such, Councillor Choba, we didn't seem to notice a major difference in our attendance at our facilities when our rate changes, nor did I receive any calls over the last year or two. In September is when the presentation is usually made in May or June because our rate change is for September 1st to go to the following September 1st, and I've not at any point received any calls in relation to the changes that have been made. And if that changes, I'm happy to let Mayor and Council know if there's an uptick at any point in feedback from the community, whether it's rates or any other part of my programming.
Okay. Further questions from council? Councillor Choba?
I'd like to move that council gives first reading of Community Services, Recreation and Facilities Rates Bylaw number 08-2026.
Motion on the floor. Any further discussion? Call to question, those in favor. And that is carried. Councillor Hughes?
I move that council give second reading of Community Services, Recreation and Facility Rates Bylaw number 08-2026.
Motion on the floor. Any further discussion? Call to question, those in favor. And that one is carried. Councillor Bowes?
I would like to move that council give unanimous consent to third reading of Community Services, Recreation and Facilities Rates Bylaw number 08-2026.
Motion on the floor. Any further discussion? Call to question, those in favor. That is carried. Councillor Williams?
I move that council give third reading of Community Services, Recreation and Facility Rates Bylaw number 08-2026.
Motion on the floor. Any further discussion? Call to question, those in favor. And that is carried. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
Next up. Calvin, the floor is yours. Service levels for parks and playgrounds.
Yes. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Today I bring forward a report for information of service levels for parks and playgrounds. This report will provide Council with information on the service levels. Service level standards are clearly identified in the green space maintenance service contract that the town has entered with our contractors. There are essentially 4 service levels: sports fields, weekly cutting and maintenance, includes fertilization, weed maintenance. This is contracted for the ball diamonds at Charity and Sinclair Parks. The Town of Slave Lake crews will continue to partner with High Prairie School Division to maintain the the sports fields used for minor soccer at the Royal Michener Secondary School. High priority areas is the second one. Cutting is done every 7 to 10 days. Of course, this varies depending on weather. Includes areas like grass along Main Street, quadrant parks, etc. We try to have this done there on Fridays, weather dependent, of course. Medium priority levels is the third one. Cutting every 10 to 20 days. Includes areas like smaller parks, playgrounds, areas adjacent to trails, entrance signs, reserve lots, and spaces. The low priority areas, cutting once a month, includes areas like ditches and industrial areas, berms adjacent to Highway 2 and 88, and empty lots in Fournier Place. Fire Smart crews have identified areas where they maintain the grass, primarily in roadside ditches. This is done through their prescribed burns or mowing and is considered a separate service than what is provided by the contractor. Parks and playgrounds. Parks are checked between 3 to 5 times per week for garbage, maintenance, and any other concerns such as vandalism. This includes the 4 quadrant parks, 4 pocket parks, ball fields at St. Clair and Charity Parks, including parking lots and spectator areas, and the downtown area. Quadrant parks are Schurter Park, Poplar Grove Park in the northwest, Barton Park southwest, Hilda Even Park in the southeast. The pocket parks are Maple Crescent Park in the southeast, Kinsman Park southeast, Canets Park southeast, Fourier Park southwest, and the Connor Lucan Memorial Fitness Park in the northeast. As crews identify repairs required in playgrounds, they are to be completed by the MRC Parks crew in a timely manner. One of the greatest challenges we face with the playgrounds is sourcing parts for repairs, often requiring custom orders as manufacturers regularly change their products. Further, once every 2 years, the town carries out an external playground inspection, hiring a consultant to provide a report as to the playground in relation to the playground safety and compliance with the CSA standards. Any deficiencies noted are handled by town crews to either repair or remove these components from service. The last playground audit or inspection was carried out in 2024. Multiple repairs have been done since then, and 2026, the inspection will be carried out again. In addition to the playground repairs, crews are also to monitor and do the following: removal of grass and debris from fall protection surfaces, ensure the distribution of sand and material to maintain fall protection under and adjacent to playground equipment, especially swings, slides, and climbing structures, keep the trees trimmed around park areas, ensure the spray parks and Schurter Park and Hilda Even are working properly, make sure the washrooms at Hilda Even are cleaned and supplies are full, ensure the features at the skate park, tennis court, and outdoor rinks appear to be safe and maintained. Preventative maintenance is planned and implemented in all park spaces. This can include staining some wood parks equipment, ensuring furniture is in good repair, and timely removal of graffiti and monitoring fencing. Trails are monitored for vandalism, general repair and tree trimming. Garbage cans and garbage cans are emptied as trails are checked. They empty and monitor over 80 waste receptacles within the town, including trails, parks, and cemeteries. Flowers are prepped and planted. Hanging baskets are a partnership with the Canets Club. Other flower planters are completely the town's responsibility. Once flowers are planted, they are watered and fertilized 2 to 3 times per week, depending on the weather. Tree planting plans are established annually. Depending on budget considerations and availability of trees, focuses on filling in gaps in high-profile areas, especially along areas where trees have been removed. The current focus remains on aging residential areas, parks, and downtown. Tree trimming occurs throughout the year, with MRC Parks crew carrying out small trimming and pruning as needed and identified. More complex trimming and pruning and large tree removal is contracted to certified arborists. Most arborist work typically occurs in the fall due to legislative requirements. For example, elm trees cannot be trimmed until fall or winter months. They are removed if they're hazardous. Some of the parks and residential areas have trees which have reached or are close to their end of life. We are constantly monitoring to eliminate hazards and concerns. In 2026, we're planning to complete an updated assessment of our inventory. Capital projects, Kush touched on a little bit. Through a capital plan, we be executing a tree project which was 50% grant funded and approved in the capital project for 2026. This project will commence in the spring. Includes removal and replanting of trees in Poplar Grove Park, Schurter Park, Hilda Even Park, and along Main Street. Hilda Even Park will also see some trail lights installed. Any resident complaints about grass mowing should be reported to myself, the Parks and Facilities Manager, who will then coordinate with the contractor to have the concern resolved. All other complaints can be handled by town crews. Again, I said this in my last report last year. I encourage all residents to watch over the park sites and all the town facilities when they're visiting them. As a community, we need to try and maintain and protect our investments from some residents that feel the need to vandalize or damage property. If you aren't comfortable approaching the culprit, I encourage you to please call the town office or RCMP if you need assistance. The service levels are intended to deliver reliable and efficient service delivery while enhancing community spaces and amenities. Recommendation to the council is accept this report as information.
Councillor Choba?
Okay. Thank you for the report. Two questions. First part is, you spoke about, mowing levels ranging from like weekly services for sports field to monthly services for low priority areas. How does administration track whether contractors are meeting the expected service levels? And then the second piece to that is you just talked about reporting at the end of your report there. And what is the process when residents report concerns about, grass, garbage, or maintenance? Like, what is our process? Like, so that if you can expand a bit on that so that people know.
Yeah, so the first question is, those levels were set, they've been set at that for the past, before I was here. I follow up on them. I go on drives every few days to make sure that some areas are, cut more than others, obviously, and make sure they're maintained. If there is any complaints, they usually contact either myself directly or the front office, and then they'll let me know where the troubled areas are, and I can try and remediate the problem.
Okay.
Councillor Hudson?
To follow up on the priority list, you mentioned empty lots in Fournier, but we don't currently own any empty lots in Fournier, so are we making sure the contractors aren't still mowing that?
Yeah, so there's some adjacent land there still along the trails and stuff that go through there that we still maintain.
Oh, that's just part of the park?
Yeah,
Okay.
there's around the park and the trails that lead to
Right.
the park,
But
right?
not the actual lots themselves? then?
no,
Okay, that's good.
no.
And, yeah, and then that's good, thanks.
Councillor Hughes?
Just a question regarding park checking, I guess. So you're kind of saying here broadly, they're being checked 3 to 5 times a week. Do you take kind of a priority system with that though? Like, are we checking the higher usage parks like Hilda Eben or CJ Schurter except more frequently, or how exactly do you handle that type of?
So typically they'll try and get to the after the weekend, like on Mondays, they'll do the high, like Schurter Park and Hilda Eben, the higher usage ones.
Okay.
And then they work on the Tuesdays, they'll get to the smaller ones, and then on Wednesday, they circle back again, and they just keep going around and
Okay.
around.
So basically parks are being checked every day
Every day they're
throughout the town.
somewhere within town.
Is there a particular time of day that they're checked?
Usually, by the time they progress through the day, some of them will be later in the day, but usually the bigger ones, we try to get there, especially in the summertime when there's classes coming, or
Yeah.
summer splash, or the water.
So more
splash park
morning
is-
time
yeah.
is fair to say,
Yeah,
or?
yeah.
Okay,
Unless there's, of course, something that's hazardous that's been reported, and then we try and go to that park first to make
Okay.
sure that we can remediate the
Perfect.
hazard.
okay, thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to get a better understanding on how exactly you prioritize that.
Mhm.
Okay. Councillor Williams?
Hey, I just want to thank you. I loved your report. It broke down exactly what I need to see on like your day-to-day checklist for me coming into this and not really knowing how these go. So it was really, really detailed for me to have a look and see, and it was really, really beneficial to hear how often you check it, how the process is. Yeah, we have so many beautiful parks and playgrounds in the area. It's definitely important to help keep them safe and functional for everybody. That being said, I would like to make the motion to accept this report as information.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Is there any further discussion from council? All right, I'll call to question those in favor. And that is carried. Thank you. All right. Any further questions for question period for administration? Going once, going twice. Okay. And do any of our counselors have anything for State of the Lake? Counselor Williams.
Hi, yes. I would just like to remind everybody about the 29th Annual Songbird Festival taking place this weekend, so this upcoming weekend, May 23rd and 24th at the Boreal Center for Bird Conservation in Slave Lake. On Saturday, the 23rd, 6:30 a.m. to 2 p.m., there's the free pancake breakfast, barbecue, guided bird walks, tours, plenty of fun and hands-on activities for the entire family. And there's also busing available from the curling rink if you'd wish to attend. And then Sunday, they have their 20th annual 5 or 10K walk run starting at 10 a.m. So wonderful community event, great opportunity to celebrate nature and spend some time outside and enjoy our beautiful region.
Thank you, Counselor Williams. Counselor Hudson.
Yes, and I'd like to just say on June 3rd, between 11:30 and 2 p.m., there will be a free barbecue downtown beside the credit union in that plaza, and I can't think of the name of it. Rene Hall. Yes, Rene Hall. We'll be set up there giving away burgers for in honor of Seniors Week. Yes. Okay, so thank you very much.
Thank you. Counselor Choba.
Motion to go into closed.
Motion on the floor. Any further discussion? Call to question. Those in favor. And that is carried. Okay. Yeah, we're good. Perfect. All right, welcome back. Counselor Williams.
I would like to make a motion to amend the budget for the Slave Lake Library for 2026 from $324,950 to $315,650.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Any further discussion? Call to question those in favor and all those opposed. And that is carried. Counselor Hughes,
Motion to adjourn.
any further discussion? Call to question those in favor. And that is carried.